Here I have the iPhone 16, and here is the 16 Pro Max, which is identical to the iPhone 16 Pro besides the screen and the battery. And I do have to give Apple props for making the two Pro models basically identical this year, which isn't something that we've seen from prior years. So that being said, should you get the iPhone 16 or should you get the Pro models? Believe it or not, this year it's actually easier than ever to choose. In the prior years with Apple's flagships, you really had three tiers to choose from. You can get the base model, you can get the Pro model, which is slightly better than the base model, or you can get the Pro Max model, which was better than the Pro model. This time around, there are really only two tiers, and you're not really missing much by getting the base model 16. In fact, I think many people will enjoy this over the Pro models considering the price tags. Starting at $800 and $1,000, but carrier deals over at Best Buy can help you by providing up to $1,000 of trade-in for the iPhone 16 Pro and up to $830 of trade-in for the iPhone 16. Now, of course, if you are interested, I'll include some links down below in the video description as well as in the pinned comment. First things first, both the 16 and 16 Pro series have the action button, which can be reprogrammed to do whatever you like, and both phones have Apple's new camera control button, which just lets you control the camera settings. And I do have to be honest, I do find that the camera control button is just a bit gimmicky. Everything that you can do on the camera control button, you can easily do a lot faster and, to be honest, more accurate by using the touchscreen. Both phones feature Apple's latest generation of the ceramic shield, which is tougher than ever before, but marketing will always be marketing. I got a little too cocky with my iPhone 15 Pro Max, and my screen just shattered completely. So I always do recommend protection. Now, the cases that I always recommend are from Taurus, and this is the O-Stand 360 spin case, and I love it because, well, not only does it offer great protection, but it's also kind of like a multi-tool. First of all, it's a case, and it's also MagSafe capable with incredibly strong magnets that you can actually stick to things like your range while you're cooking. The ring also doubles as a grip for, when you use the camera control button, and the ring also flips out and spins 360 degrees so you can watch vertical and horizontal content. The new MagSafe ring also supports the Qi 2 wireless charging standard, so you get the most efficient charge going to your iPhone with not a lot of heat loss. Taurus also sells the Glasgow X screen protector, which is the one I have on, and it's probably the easiest screen protector you could ever install. You just snap it on your phone, pull the tab, and that's it. You now have a high quality screen protector that has 100% coverage, and it doesn't ruin the quality of your screen like, some other screen protectors do. Now, if you guys want to pick this up for yourselves, I'll include some links down below in the video description. Cameras are also another difference, as always. The Pro models have 3 cameras and the 16 has 2 cameras. That being said, if you take a lot of zoom photos, the Pro model will give you better detail with your photos as well as videos. The obvious difference here is that the 16 Pro models have the new 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera compared to the 12 megapixel on the iPhone 16. But honestly, this should not really be a factor in purchasing the Pro model over the base model 16 because, well, the quality just isn't really there yet. The new 48 megapixel ultra-wide, it's new hardware, and as always with new hardware, you really need to wait a few updates for that hardware to work perfectly with the software, because as of right now, the new 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera, it has a lot of noise and really just a lack of detail. Here's a quick ultra-wide comparison with the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and as you could tell, the standard 16 looks better, even though it's at 12 megapixels compared to 48. So the main takeaway is, if you want a phone that gives you the best zoom, of course you're going to want to get the Pro model, and if you don't really care about zoom, you just want a nice overall camera system that sometimes is even better than the Pro, then I would highly recommend the iPhone 16. Now, in terms of video features, the Pro model does have a pretty big leg up over the standard iPhone 16. The Pro models have access to 4K 120 video, which lets you slow down the video and give you high quality slow motion, as well as being able to record in ProRes. Now, I personally would consider those two features to be kind of niche. I don't think a lot of people are going to be using it because of the massive space that those two video formats take up. I mean, we're talking about gigabytes of data just in a couple minutes of recording. This is not something a lot of people are going to be using, so don't base your purchase off of that thing alone. As far as standard video goes, both phones can record in 4K 60 and both can switch lenses while recording, which is always great, and both look fantastic with great HDR and silky smooth stabilization. When it comes to charging speeds, the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 16 Pro models have the Apple's latest generation of MagSafe, so you can get 25 watts. And I think it's pretty cool for Apple not to gatekeep the faster wireless charging to the Pro models, and instead, the base model 16 has it too. And on the battery life side, of course, I'm not going to compare my 16 Pro Max to the iPhone 16. That would just not be fair. But even if we take a look at the iPhone 16 Pro, it'll realistically get you around an hour and a half more than the iPhone 16. But if we're comparing the iPhone 15 to the iPhone 16, the iPhone 16 should also get you around an hour and a half more than the last year's iPhone 15. So either way, I'm really kind of shocked at the great battery life that the standard iPhone 16 is bringing. I'm getting around 6.5 hours of screen on time, which is pretty darn good. The display on both phones are also kind of identical. Hey, I said kind of. Of course, the Pro models have access to the 120Hz ProMotion display, which is buttery smooth, and the iPhone 16 is stuck at 60Hz. I think the iPhone 16 is the only new phone that is at 60 Hz. Personally, I don't care. I got used to it pretty quickly, but for $800, I don't think that's fair. If you're coming from a 120Hz phone back down to a 60Hz phone, it is kind of jarring, but if you're upgrading from a 60Hz phone to another 60Hz phone, hey, you'll feel right at home. This of course also means the iPhone 16 does not have an always-on display, whereas the Pro models do, but aside from those two differences, the displays are identical. Same brightness levels, both support HDR, and both look great when watching movies. Another hardware change is that if you're looking for the most amount of local storage, you're going to want to get the iPhone 16 Pro series because those phones go up to 1 terabyte of storage compared to 512 gigabyte on the 16 and the 16 Plus. Now, if you're looking for base storage, the highest amount of base storage, the iPhone 16 Pro Max does start at 256 gigabytes compared to 128 on the iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, and the iPhone 16 Pro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got all that right. Now, when looking at the build quality, I think it only matters if you make it matter. The 16 Pros have titanium, but I'm using a case anyway. I will never touch the titanium. Maybe even if I do, it sure feels identical to the aluminum that the iPhone 16 series has. I wouldn't care too much about this. I mean, if you want the peace of mind knowing that you have the most amount of premium materials, the iPhone 16 Pro has got your back. If you don't care and you're using your phone in a case anyway, the iPhone 16, it's gonna be the same. As far as Apple Intelligence goes, all iPhone 16 models have it. Kind of. You don't really have it yet. You have to download the beta, but even if you do download the beta, you have Apple Intelligence, but not all of it. You have things like writing tools, which helps you kind of rewrite paragraphs. You also have the cleanup tool, which helps erase unwanted things in a photo, as well as the new fancy Siri activation. Now keep in mind, this is not the new Siri that Apple introduced. This is just the same old Siri with a different look. The actual new Siri that Apple promised, well, that unfortunately is only coming in 2025 to some countries. So for the rest of you, it's going to be quite of a long wait. There is another change to the USB-C ports. They are not identical. So the Pro models have access to USB 3 and the base model has access to USB 2. Yeah, USB 2, which came out in early 2000. The iPhone 16 Pro models, of course, have that USB 3 speeds to help offload that huge file size of 4K 120 and ProRes video, ProRes HDR with Dolby Vision. Those take up, like I said, multiple gigabytes for a couple minutes. But seeing as the base model iPhone 16s don't have that feature anyway, I wouldn't worry too much about this, especially nowadays where most people transfer files via AirDrop or Google Storage or Apple iCloud. I think those are kind of the norm, but if you are looking for the fastest available transfer speeds when tethered to your computer, the Pro models have it. This actually might be my first year that I really recommend the base model 16s because Well, they have a lot of the new hardware. They have the new action button, which first debuted on the iPhone 15 Pro series last year. They have the new camera control button. And like I said, I do think the camera control button is a gimmick, but for those of you who are going to be using it a lot, you don't have to get the Pro model. The 16 model has it also. And it's just a nice small form factor. It fits perfectly in one hand. And let's be honest, the colors of the iPhone 16 blow away the colors on the iPhone 16 Pros. I wish we had this color on the Pro. I think it would have looked so sick. Unfortunately, we don't. If there's something that I didn't mention in this video and you guys want to know, definitely drop me your comments down below and I'll try to answer each and every single one of you. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, definitely click that like button. It's absolutely free to you, but it helps me and the channel out a lot and I always truly appreciate it. And if you're new here, you like tech videos, definitely hit that subscribe button. As always, this was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.